If you're feeling the relationship stress of trying to conceive, with timers, tests, and the weight of getting it right, you are not alone. This is where partner communication for fertility meets compassion. Today, on episode 25, we're going to be talking about the real intimacy while trying to conceive and how fertility stress hits your relationship, including scheduled sex pressure, the 2-week wait, results day, and what to do when closeness feels complicated. You'll leave with short practices to downshift stress, rebuild connection, and invite more tenderness back into your relationship. Do you feel like there is way more to your success than the tired, worn out idea that your fertility is only about your physical body? Well, beautiful mama, you're in the right place. Welcome to Fertile Frequencies Radio, the radio show created for you to empower you on your fertility journey and finally give you a baby. Join me, Lindsay Goodwin, natural reproductive medicine and energetic spiritual fertility expert, as we clear away the doubts, reframe the struggles into fertile wins, and turn the what ifs into big celebrations. Together, we'll unlock the tools to manifest your healthy pregnancy and baby. Fertile Frequencies Radio, your infinite fertile possibilities, begins now. Welcome back to Fertile Frequencies Radio. I'm your host, Lindsay Goodwin, and I am so glad you're here for yet another empowering episode to support your fertility journey. And today we're going to be talking about how trying to conceive can put such a strain on your connection with your partner and your relationship, as well as the strain on yourself individually. But today we're really going to be focusing on what you can do. And at the end, I am going to give you 2 really powerful ways to connect with your partner and bring some of that spark back while you're trying to conceive. And we all know that these timers and test days and the 2-week wait and how to ease partner communication, reduce the scheduled sex pressure, and bring intimacy back is so challenging. And when you are on this journey, it's like almost like you get into survival mode and you really forget about connecting with your partner, and the communication can really be off. And if you are listening to this, I can almost guarantee that you have felt that in your relationship, or maybe you're feeling it now. And part of what I do in all of my programs is really include both partners in my programs, because it's important that both feel supported in this journey. And so today we're going to be talking so much about some of these different strains in your connection, as well as, like I'd mentioned, how we can really use some tools to be able to get back into that connection and that spark in your relationship and really helping to ease some of the stress. So let's go right ahead and dive in. And first, we're going to start off, like I said, with some strains in the connection that you can be experiencing, some different areas. One would be ovulation week. We all know that during that week, there's a lot of pressure. I feel that a lot of times men feel very pressured in that because they have to perform around the time of ovulation. And we know that to get pregnant, we have to have sex around ovulation. So that is something that is needed. But there's different ways to go about this. And really, it's more about connecting with your partner. I've been talking with my clients about trying to have sex every few days, or less about that I'm in the fertile window. I've even suggested to my clients that they not tell their partner that they're in the fertile window, just so it's more about the connection with each other versus we're trying to only do this to make a baby. So during that ovulation week, it can really be about when the desire is really meeting the stopwatch and the scheduled sex pressure. So there's a lot going on that can be very overwhelming. Also, things like semen analysis, results day, fear of blame, trying to fix it energy, and spike this where, the male fertility support kind of can be shoved under the rug sometimes, because we're often looking so much at egg quality and what's going on with the woman's cycle, that the men can often feel left out or that they're not performing enough. And they are 50% of this equation. So it is very important to make sure that they are feeling supported as well. And gosh, the 2 week wait, when one partner is spiraling into research and the other goes quiet because both are really trying to be in this safety place. And of course, your partner is probably trying to support you if you are the person that's doing a lot of Googling. But that can be so overwhelming. I often recommend social media and Googling are probably not the best options. In fact, 99% of the time, I feel that they're probably not, especially when you're in a place of anxiety, because there's so much stuff on the internet and so much of it is not actually accurate. And anyone can post anything on the internet, and people are posting things they don't always have the best scientific knowledge, as well as who knows, it might just not be good information for you to be looking at. And you really are spiraling in anxiety during this 2 week wait of trying to figure out if you're pregnant or not, whether that be through IVF, natural conception, IUI, or some sort of assisted fertility program that you might be receiving. And so also those negative tests and that early loss, gosh, that is so much to go through. And that grief, it really is taking a toll on the intimacy. It's just a very vulnerable state. It's a very painful state to be in when you've had loss or you're getting a negative pregnancy test. I'll often hear people will say that if they've had a pregnancy or they've had a positive pregnancy test, maybe it was a chemical pregnancy test, someone with probably good intentions, but not the right thing to say to somebody will say, "Well, at least you can get pregnant." That's really hurtful and painful to hear that. But there are people that have never experienced a positive pregnancy test, which sometimes that can be really, really bad because then you think, am I never going to experience even a positive pregnancy test, even if it is a chemical pregnancy? So there's a lot going on here that can create so much disconnect in your relationship with yourself and your partner. And we also have treatment decisions and cost involved, like IUI and IVF, those are very expensive. And so many people now are opting not to do those fertility treatments because they actually are not very, I wouldn't say all of the time, but they are very successful a lot of the time. But there are many people out there that do not have success with IUI or IVF. IUI has a very low percentage of success rate. IVF is much, much, much higher. And I have seen IVF increase and improve and advancement over the years that I've been treating IVF patients. It's astronomically crazy how much it has advanced, but it's not going to be for everybody. Some people don't want to invest that sort of investment, that much money in fertility treatments, or even have the resources to be able to do that. And then there's others that just don't feel aligned with that. And I do see a lot of that. I work with an awful lot of fertility treatment clients, but I do see a lot of people that are absolutely adamant they do not want to go through any sort of fertility treatments. And so we do it naturally and have great results doing it. But when you are going through IUI and IVF, there definitely are so many ups and downs in your relationship that are about just the treatment itself. It's a lot to give injections and to be going to all these monitoring appointments, and then all the stress of doing the retrievals and then the transfer. And am I going to have healthy embryos before the transfer? And are we going to have issues with the sperm? So it's not just the egg quality. And then there's also the cost involved. So it's not just going through the treatments, but it's also the cost. So there's a lot going on there. We also have medication side effects when you go through fertility treatments or some sort of assisted fertility modification like Clomid or letrozole, something like that as well. Any sort of hormones can have a lot of impact on your sleep, your mood, as well as your body image. And this all has such an effect on your desire, really your desire for intimacy, as well as connection with your partner, which is the intimacy, and definitely can take your libido down, which your libido is your sex drive. So that can absolutely go way down because of some of these medications that you might be taking for fertility treatments or assisted fertility paths. It's okay for us to not feel like we are the center of our partner's world. I mean, I understand that th- things happen and days, everyone has their days and we go up and down. And it's about supporting each other through those phases, but it's not normal for us to go long periods of time where we're not connecting. We're supposed to be connecting. It's natural human instinct to want to connect with your partner. So it's really important to keep that alive. And if you are someone that feels that this is missing in your relationship and you don't know where to turn, like I'd stated, I support couples in my programs as well as you can work with a licensed therapist, someone that is able to really help you both connect and bring that spark back in your relationship. And it's okay to ask for help. It's beautiful to ask for help when you know that something just isn't quite right. And your relationship is the most important part of this, actually, outside of your fertility, because it takes the two of you to be able to make the baby. So your relationship, your partnership is really important because your child, when they come into the world, is going to see your relationship as an example. Oftentimes, when I talk to spirit babies as a spirit baby medium, that can often be a communication that I receive is about helping my client or clients in their relationship because there's a disconnect, and it could be, I think most of the time it's individually there's things going on and then how they're actually coming together as a unit. So it is really powerful stuff. And also, when we look at really the pressure and how this affects the body and how we can downshift this, and I'm going to go over this. So, under strain, the nervous system prioritizes survival and voices sharpen, or they can actually go quiet. So, you might get resentful or angry, or you just might be someone that gets really quiet and doesn't want to talk about it. And also, things like you might be shallow breathing and your touching and intimacy is reducing. I find it really interesting because you can really tell how stressed you are at how you're breathing, because breath is something that it's our life force. And when we're not connecting with ourselves and we're in survival mode, we're going to breathe very shallowly. And I will say, outside of fertility, just working with people for pain management, that I've had many clients over the years that have been experiencing upper body tightness, neck pain, low back pain, and it's that they just are not breathing correctly and because of stress. Because we're if we think of trying to fit ourselves into a box, like we're trying to make ourselves small. We don't want to take up space when we're stressed out and we're in survival mode. So your body is going to actually show you what is going on. And you can see this in your partner as well. All it takes is awareness, just having awareness to see different movements that you're doing, but as well as your partner. How are they responding or reacting to stress? What is their body doing? What sort of things are going on? Do they have a lot of upper body tightness? Are they having headaches? Are you having upper body tightness or headaches? Are you not sleeping well? I mean, the list goes on. I could go on of many different symptoms, but this can really help us to be able to distinguish what's going on and if we are, how high our level of stress is. And breathing is one way to be able to distinguish this. And so it can be very small things. It doesn't necessarily have to be sex itself. Intimacy is so much more than just having sex. So just helping your partner to feel supported. And it's probably very likely that if you start doing these things, someone's got to take the initiative, that your partner will come around as well. Because when we feel loved and protected and feel taken care of, nurtured, then we're going to be more likely to give that sort of energy back. So maybe just some hugs, maybe hugging more, noticing maybe something nice about your partner, maybe how they look today or what they're wearing, or just recognizing something nice that they do. So the more that we can support each other through these stressful moments, the more that our body and our minds are going to register these loving words and actions. So there's something really powerful in manifestation that if you're in a place of survival mode, it's really hard to be able to hear the intuitive connections, or a frequency of love or a frequency of abundance because you're in survival mode. So, as hard as it is when you're going through a huge transformation, life path of fertility, when you've been on it for a long time, or maybe you haven't been on it for very long, maybe you're someone that's just starting out, but it can be a lot to keep yourself in a place of calmness. And it's something that takes daily, I feel like several times a day practice to remember that the calmer I am, the more that my nervous system is regulated, the more that my body is going to be responding. And remembering that your ovaries and your uterus and your whole reproductive system is all listening to how your mind is talking to your body. Okay. So if you're in a place of calm, and your partner is also, and you both are striving for that to regulate your nervous system, then you're going to receive energies better. So, loving words, affirmations, connection. You will receive kindness, compassion. It's a much different frequency than when we're all stressed out and feel tight in our bodies. And the uterus actually in embryo transfers, that part of the reason why acupuncture is so powerful is because it makes the uterus relax. And that's really what we need to be able to have a successful embryo transfer is the uterus to relax. So just giving you an example of how when our body is relaxed, we're able to receive. The uterus is in the reproductive powerhouse, also known as the sacral chakra. We're talking about chakras and energy centers, the womb space. And so to be able to receive in an embryo is fertility, it's creation of life. We have to have a regulated nervous system so that it's relaxed, so that the embryo will actually feel safe enough to attach and create new life. And if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I talk about fertility as being way beyond just having babies. It's creation of anything. It's creation of projects, businesses, better relationship with yourself, your partner. And so a regulated body is going to hear the loving words, the fertility, the abundance, the wisdom, all of that way more easily than if you're in a place of stress and unregulated nervous system. So, we're going to talk through some of these hot spots, and then I'm going to offer you some different practices that you can use. On the fertile days, you can decide to go outside the bedroom and create a date night. Think of a night where you guys can connect first, details second, treat the logical stuff like brushing your teeth, and it's not romanticized. So take a night to go plan a really wonderful date. Don't talk about your fertility. Maybe you do it around ovulation. If you are a woman listening to this, maybe you don't tell your partner that you're ovulating. It's more about doing something sexy and exciting for your partner, as well as encouraging him or her to do that, or they to do that, to really help you to be able to have this romantic part in your relationship around your fertile days, but not necessarily that you need to have it be the topic of conversation. And it's really interesting to note too that hormonally, that we are much more, as women, much more horny around the times of ovulation. So it's to plan these sort of dates where you go and you do something exciting. The energy is there. So so it might seem like a lot to you if you are someone that's been in this fertility journey for a while and the spark has been lost, to think about bringing that back. But it's like an onion. You peel back the layers. You've got to start from somewhere to get to the center. And so start with something small, around your fertile days, do something that is romantic with your partner, plan a date, and really make it more about the connection with your partner versus trying to make a baby. And I've seen this time and time again where people stop focusing so much on the fertility and start focusing more on the relationship, and the baby just naturally comes, because it's not so hard focusing on when is the baby going to come? When is it going to happen? Well, part of manifestation is letting go of the outcome. You just know that it's working out for you, but you don't need to know the exact day or the exact cycle. And so I know that's hard, but that's really a big part of our human experience is learning how to trust. And that's something that I work with my clients on very deeply in their fertility journey, but also remembering that your fertility journey is a discovery journey. So it's giving you the opportunity to really awaken to the infinite creator that you are and really learning how to trust yourself and surrender. And so my clients walk away with not only successful fertility journey and babies, but a better relationship. Their partners feel more grounded and more in alignment with themselves. And also, as a whole, there's this energy of, wow, I really didn't know how powerful it truly was until I went through this fertility journey. And it's very hard when you're going through it, but in hindsight, you realize you got so much more out of it than just being a mom or a dad or a parent, that you got to really learn who you truly are. So things like the results day, including the semen analysis, or if you're getting your hormones or your AMH test, your ovarian reserve, really, those can be really hard days. So giving yourself a lot of space and talking with your partner about it, but realizing that this is not a death sentence. There's always options. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just figuring out what needs to happen for you. And anyone that tries to tell you that you have no other options is probably 99% of the time incorrect, because I see this time and time again where people are told that they're infertile and that is not true, or that they will have to use an egg donor and they don't have to. And if you are someone that does, there's nothing wrong with that either. Egg donation, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. We live in a time where we have all these different options to be able to have a family. But what I can tell you is that I've seen time and time again that someone will have results that come through and they are actually not a death sentence. There just needs to be more figuring out, more investigation. What's going on with your gut? What's going on with your stress levels? Have you completed a mind-body therapy program alongside your fertility treatments? Have you worked in other areas than just your hormones? I have seen this time and time again where people are told that they'll never be able to have their own baby through their own eggs. And it's not true, because we can see, I've seen this many times through my own clients, as well as working with other providers and seeing results with other providers as well, is that when people reduce their stress, if we're just talking about egg quality or sperm quality as well, that those numbers significantly improve. And there's supplements involved in that as well. But more than anything, it's reducing your stress. It's regulating your central nervous system. Has a huge impact on how your hormones are functioning. So if you do get some results back that are not ideal and you're feeling really down about it, you and your partner are feeling really down about it, just remember that there are other options, that there are people like myself and many other great providers that know how to help you. And the work that I do, I am a licensed health provider in reproductive medicine, but I also am certified in the subconscious mind and helping to regulate the nervous system, specializing in fertility, pregnancy, and reproductive medicine. So I understand both sides of the spectrum. And let's also add in there too that I'm a spirit baby medium. So I can communicate and understand different messages that maybe you're not going to get from a doctor or maybe a fertility coach, because I'm able to really read messages in a much more detailed way and connect it to the actual physical experience in the body systems because I'm trained in that as well. So I have a lot of different tools that I use to be able to help people. And it's very unique and it works. Also, we're talking about the 2-week wait, that little tiny window that feels, it feels so overwhelming. So even though it's tiny, it feels so overwhelming. And it's just, again, it's like the results, giving yourself a lot of room, working with someone that can help you, like myself, through the mind body connection, help you with some energy healing, really support you, or a licensed therapist, really support you through that process. And also as a couple, supporting you through that as well, because this is a lot. And it's a lot for anyone, but it's really a lot for people that are going through IVF or fertility treatments, because there's also the financial investments and the physical investment of everything that goes into that. And I'm not comparing journeys, like both sides. It's really tough because you have this instinct to want to have a baby, but the IVF can definitely be a lot. I'm just going to add that. A lot of emotional ups and downs, and that 2-week wait can be really strong. So also after a heart appointment or negative test, those 24 to 48 hours of gentle living. So trying to do things that feel good. As much as crazy as that sounds, when you're feeling down, trying to do something that feels good, eating nourishing meals, as well as movement, going for a walk, connecting with nature. Uh, the fertility energy is Mother Nature. So being outside and connecting with nature. Also, keeping it to minimal decisions, like not trying to make big decisions, giving yourself 20 to 24 to 48 hours to really relax and process whatever just came in with some appointment that you had, or the negative test, rather than trying to say, "Oh, I got to figure it out right now. I got to figure out all the pieces right now as I'm getting these results." That can be really hard. We need time to process things, and that's part of self-care, is allowing ourselves time to actually process and to feel our emotions. And oftentimes we think self-care is getting a manicure or a massage or doing something like that. It's not. Self-care is actually giving yourself the space to process, to feel your emotions, and to not feel guilty about what you're feeling. That's really truly self-care. So, but remembering that even though maybe this news came in, it's also staying close to your goal and not losing that. And that's not what you're doing by taking a break. You're just allowing yourself to process. And it could be anything. It might not be an appointment or negative test results. It could be, maybe you are someone that's pregnant and you're experiencing a lot of morning sickness, and you had a really bad couple of days and you're feeling down that you got behind on something. Well, allow yourself to feel what you've been feeling, that it's okay, everything will work out. I don't need to feel guilty and that I'm not doing enough. I'm going to take the self-care and opportunity to allow myself to give myself what I need during this time. So let's jump into some healing partner practices, and you can do these with your partner tonight if you'd like. And it's always good to pause this. Definitely make sure you save this episode for later. And if you want to go grab a pen and paper, or you want to pause this and listen to it later, because I actually am going to go through the steps. So let's go ahead and get started. So, number one is going to be called a 12-minute connection reset. And this is going to work really well any day, but especially during that 2-week wait. And the goal here is we are going to drop the stress. We're going to hear each other and agree on one tiny action without spiraling into planning. And this is going to take you about 12 minutes to complete this connection reset exercise. And also, the setup is going to be that we're going to put our phones down and we are going to sit side by side, okay? And the steps for this, number one, is you're going to downshift. And this is going to be for 2 minutes. Now, downshifting really is about really bringing your energy down, just like it sounds, downshift, bringing your energy down. So you're going to take a soft gaze, unclenched jaw, making sure that your face is relaxed. We hold a lot of tension in our face and neck. You're going to inhale for 4 counts. You're going to hold it at the top for 3 seconds. And then you're going to breathe out for 6 counts. And you're going to do this for 10 rounds. Okay? And you are going to feel your feet on the floor. You always want to make sure that your feet are flat on the floor, because this is how you ground to the earth. Now, what you're going to do is after you've gotten relaxed, you're going to do this for 4 minutes. And this is going to be the what's real part. You're going to look at your partner and you're going to talk for 2 minutes. You can get a timer if you want to, use your watch or your phone. But if you've got your phone, make sure that your phone is only used as a timer. We're not looking at it and in between when our partner is talking and we're supposed to be listening. This is an intentional exercise that you are going to connect with your partner. It's the whole idea of this exercise. So as partner A is talking for 2 minutes, partner B is going to listen, and then you guys are going to switch. And you're going to use this plain language, okay? This is what you're going to say. 3 questions. What my body feels today, what my mind keeps doing, one thing that would help tonight. Okay. And you're going to talk about this to your partner, and your partner's going to listen. And then you're going to switch. Okay. Now, the third part of this exercise is we're going to do one tiny action. So together, you're going to choose one doable thing for the next 24 hours. And this could be a 10-minute walk after dinner with no fertility talk after 8 p.m. Okay. And maybe you connect in some way before you go to bed. Maybe you talk to each other or talk about something with your day, but it can't be fertility related. Okay. And it's got to be something positive. We got to talk about positive stuff. If there's something that happened in your day and it didn't feel so good, but you were able to alchemize that and turn that into something positive, we can talk about that too. But I want to try to keep this more positive, because before you go to bed, if it is going to be something you're going to do before you go to bed, we want to try to do positive things before we go to bed, because our subconscious mind is active about 3 hours before we actually go to sleep. It starts becoming more active. So that's why looking at your phone and talking about hard things and watching TV, those are not great activities to try to reprogram your subconscious mind with positive fertility sort of thoughts, okay? And then the fourth step to this is you're going to bond and close for 3 minutes. So you're going to give each other a 20-second hug, and each one of you is going to share one appreciation for each other, okay? So it could be something like, I noticed you, ... And then you're done, and that's it. The one action beats the overwhelm, and the appreciation boosts the oxytocin bonding I was talking about. So that some of these hard topics that you have to talk about are actually going to feel a lot safer to discuss. Okay. And then the second exercise that I have for you is called the pressure-free touch window. So this take about 15 minutes. And this really rebuilds the intimacy safely. The goal here is to restore closeness without the scheduled sex pressure. It's useful on fertile days after a negative test or in early pregnancy. This is going to take you about 15 minutes in total. And the rules here are that no goals, no timelines, no shoulds. This is about comfort and connection. And either partner can opt out or change pace. No explanations needed. Step 1, choose 2 from the menu. This is going to take about 1 minute. You can warm the hand, foot, and shoulders with a massage. You can use oil or lotion. So I don't recommend doing this if you are after ovulation or you are someone that is doing an embryo transfer, okay? So note that listening to this. Now, you can also do a shared shower or warm compress on your back or low belly. I do not recommend, again, after ovulation or if you're going through fertility treatments, doing a compress on your back or lower belly. Also, a shower, if you are taking a shower after ovulation or during fertility treatments, it cannot be too hot. More specifically with the hot, I'm talking about after an embryo transfer. Also, you can slow, sway, or cuddle with music and the lights down. So do something romantic like that. You can do a head or temple rub, plus breathe together. Also, set a gentle timer for 12 minutes. You do the 2 choices with check-ins at 6 minutes, and you ask each other, still good? If arousal shows up, pause and ask, do we stay here or keep it cozy? No pressure either way. So just letting things go where they go. If they get romantic and you guys end up having sex, that's great. If you just want to relax with each other and just enjoy this being more of a light sort of connection, then that's really powerful as well. So you can close the container, and this takes about 2 minutes, and you can end with a long hug and each name with one sensation. I feel softer, warmer, and steadier. And that's a huge win. So you can pick one of those. And then also, why this works, it's safe. It's a non-goal touch that rebuilds the body's I am safe with you map, which naturally supports desire later. It also supports pregnancy intimacy when bodies feel different. So these 2 patterns, 12 minutes to connect and 15 minutes to touch without pressure, can help lower cortisol, raise oxytocin, and put us back on the same team. And don't forget to join us for the next episode. I have a powerful conversation coming for you with a mama who chose an egg donor and how her daughter sparked her mission to creating better humans with spirit and soul. You don't want to miss it. This is Fertile Frequencies, where reproductive health meets spiritual energy medicine on your renewed path to parenthood. Connection first, logistics second. Keep your frequency fertile, and I'll see you in the next episode.